Hi, this is Maury Moreland Morrison, here to tell you Geico has more than just great savings. Much more. Yes, while Geico could help you rack up more moolah faster than you can say metamorphosis, they've also been the fastest growing auto insurer for more than 10 years. That's more like it. Furthermore, Geico has fast and friendly claim service. That might seem like an oxymoron, but it's not. All the more reason to say no other auto insurer has more than Geico. Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Nonprofit U, a forum where nonprofit stakeholders can share lessons learned and discuss the latest developments in the industry. My name is Valerie, Leonard, your host, and I'm a consultant to nonprofits, and I specialize in community and organizational development. I work with nonprofit organizations to help them make a stronger impact to their clients and communities. You can find Nonprofit U on Facebook and Twitter, and I encourage you to comment early and often using the hashtags NonprofitU, Westside Music Festival, or WFMF 2016. You can also leave comments on blogtalkradio.com/nonprofit_U. The chat room is open, and you can post comments and questions. In order to use chat room, you must open a listener-only account, and you'll find a link to open the account on the episode page. You can also email me questions at consulting@valeriesleonard.com or send messages through Facebook and Twitter. You'll find the Nonprofit U fan page on Facebook, and the Twitter account is @NonprofitU. We'll be taking questions by phone and chat at about the 20-minute mark. The call-in number is 347-884-8121. Again, that number is 347-884-8121. Today's episode is the potential of music festivals to build community. When Gallup and the Knight Foundation set out to answer the question, what attaches people to their communities, they found that the key reasons cited by residents for loving their cities were entertainment and social offerings, how welcoming the city is, and its aesthetics. In other words, the arts and culture. That finding was not news to Alderman Michael Scott, Jr. or his wife, Natashee. The couple have been patrons of the arts for years, and in an effort to build community and make North Lawndale a destination for arts and entertainment, the Scotts started the annual Westside Musical Festival. This, again, will run on August 20th, 2016. And Natashee and Scott Jr., they'll share lessons learned over time about what it's been like to actually start this. Natashee is not able to join us at this point, but we do have Alderman Michael Scott. So they're going to share with us over time, as I said before, and Michael Scott will share with us today ways the Westside Music Festival is being used to build community, how it can be used to develop a sense of place for North Lawndale, and to spur economic development and tourism. Again, we encourage you to call in with questions and to participate in live chats at about the 20-minute mark. The call-in number is area code 347-884-8121. Nonprofit professionals and educators, especially those who are into arts and culture and community development, are encouraged to call in and share your war stories and your strategies. So, again, Michael, thank you so much for coming on, Alderman Scott. And before we go on, I know many of us who are listening know you already, but for those of us who don't know you, can you give us a little bit of background about yourself?
Well, thanks for having me again, Valerie. Michael Scott, Jr., I'm an alderman in the 24th Ward. Was elected last May, so it's almost a year that I've been in office. Lifelong resident of North Lawndale. Been here all of my life except for the years that I went away to school at Morehouse College, and then I came back here and began serving my community in different capacities. Been at the Park District, been at the Board of Education, been to the Public Building Commission. Last stop was back at the Park District and then Alderman. And that's kind of where my love for developing festival and community events kind of happen at the Park District, dealing with people on a regular basis. become my second labor of love.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you so much. And how can how did you come about develop, I know you said you fell in love with arts, back when you were with the Park District. And I do have a caller. I don't know if this is Natashee or not. Area code 708-829-1900.
1900. No, I think that's Kristen. I believe that's Kristen.
That is Kristen.
Hey, Kristen, how are you?
Good. How are you? I was actually just calling to listen into the show. I didn't realize I would be connected.
Okay, I can put you on mute. My problem is I don't know Natashee's number by sight. So
Natashee, she's a 312. Mm-hmm. No, so that's Kristen, I think. Yeah, I know it's Kristen because she just said it was her.
Okay, so I'm just going to mute the call, and I'm just listening in.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for calling in.
So
thank you.
A little bit about how the concert kind of developed. Again, was at the Chicago Park District for several years. Douglas Park, I was the park supervisor there. And in my tenure there, we established a music conservatory. Ravinia established a music conservatory with the help of the Park District and other partners. And part of the deal with the music conservatory is that they would do an outdoor concert 3 or 4 times during the summer. And it became, I wouldn't say wildly popular, but it was very popular in the North Lawndale communities. We'd have 300 to 400 people that would come out and listen to local artists play. And we had Maggie Brown Jr. there one time. Mikey Brown Jr. and some other local artists that aren't national, but very instrumental in the development of arts in Chicago. And we would have them play in the summer. And when the economy took a downturn, Ravinia said, well, hey, we want to continue to do the music conservatory. That's our primary goal, but we're going to pull back on this concert series that we were having outdoors. And that was unfortunate, and I had tons and tons, and maybe even 100 people that would come to me and say, hey, how can you create something similar to what Ravinia was doing so that we wouldn't lose this music in the park? And there sparked the idea of making this happen. And rewind a little bit, my father was involved in the Taste of Chicago and all kind of events across the city, and I always had an interest in doing some special events. He actually did the Sinbad Music Festival that he would have in Aruba and Cancun and so on and so forth. So I had been around that sort of thing, and I thought, well, hey, we should probably do something large scale like that in Chicago on the West Side. I don't see any of that happening. I see all of these other things happening in all these other communities. Let me see if I can do that. And so I went out and started to try to raise money to do this and ran across a grant that the Chicago Community Trust was doing, and nobody on the West Side had applied to this grant. Went through the series of making it happen and was awarded the grant, and that was seed money. And the thing that they wanted is to make sure, the trust that they wanted is to make sure that there was access and diversity to the arts on the West Side. And so that was the mission of the Westside Music Festival. That's how it started, and we've been going ever since.
Oh, that's awesome. So you guys are the gateway to the arts on the West Side. Thank you for that.
I hope that one day it becomes as large as, I kind of liken what we do to the Chosen Few picnic that's on the South Side. That is almost like a family reunion for families and friends and individuals that come all across the United States just to come back for that concert series. And so I hope that one day we will be as large or larger than the Chosen Few picnic and have the West Side version of that family-friendly picnic here in North Lawndale.
Oh, that is just awesome. So can you give us a little bit of a recap from what happened last year, and then let us know what visitors might expect this year?
So last year was our biggest show to date. We had over 10,000 people in the park without any incidences of violence. Belle Biv DeVoe was our headliner. Case was our undercard, if you will. We had 4 individuals from not just North Lawndale, but the city of Chicago, 4 local acts that performed. We opened up the day with my back-to-school event where we gave out over 1,500 book bags to kids. We gave out free food. We had the jumping jack and face painting and other things for the kids. And then at 3 o'clock, we opened up the show again with those local artists. Case came on, and he rocked the house. And then Belle Biv DeVoe actually shut everything down. But in between then, we had the West Side's own Crucial Conflict come, and they just said, hey, we would like to get on stage. And how could you not let one of Chicago's best-known West Side artists get on the stage at the Westside Music Festival? So they got on stage, and I believe people were more excited or just as excited to see them as they were to see Belle Biv DeVoe. Belle Biv DeVoe came on again, and everybody went crazy. It was a great time for all, and we hope to have that happen again this year. If your listeners want to have say-so on who's going to be our headliner this year, if you go online to Facebook and look up the Chicago Westside Music Festival, they can vote on artists that they would like to see as our headliner this year. There are a nice, sizable list of male artists, a nice, sizable list of female artists. You get to pick 2 from each one. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the people who are chosen are going to be our headliners. We would love to say that that's going to be the case. However, got to keep in mind you deal with artist schedules, and you have to keep their price in mind too. Some may be too high. Some, we have to massage that. So hopefully we'll get listeners to go and vote and pick who that artist is going to be this year. We're going to open up again with My Back to School. We're going to try to give out as many book bags, hopefully more. Again, we'll do some local artists who will perform beforehand. We'll have vendors. We'll have food. We'll have a good time. And I'm sure I'll see you and some of your listeners there, Val.
I'll be there. I definitely will. Now, what opportunities are there for local vendors, and what should they be doing right now to increase their chances of being selected?
So we try to let as many local vendors as possible. Last year we had some vendors from surrounding areas. Nobody from 24 actually vended in for food. Vended in it, but we would love to open that up to those individuals in North Lawndale. I believe Taste Buds, who was right outside of North Lawndale, they're actually in Garfield. And then we also had, what is that restaurant on Kedzie and I think that's Madison, Jimmy G's. Jimmy G's also. But then we had other local vendors like Giordano's and some other people. But we want vendors from North Lawndale, and we want vendors from the west side of Chicago. So, again, there are 2 things that people can do. They can email Natashee, who is the guru. She's actually the mastermind behind all of this. I'm just the talking face. She actually does all the work. So you can email her at info@westsidemusicfestival.org. And she can send you all the information on how to do that. You can also go on our Facebook page. Again, that's Westside Music Festival on Facebook. Shoot her an email or shoot her an inbox, and she will make sure either her or her intern will get back to you with all of the paperwork that needs to be done. Again, we're looking for vendors specifically from North Lawndale. If we can fill up the vendors role with individuals from North Lawndale, that would be our brothers.
Okay, so is it just food, or are there other opportunities, like if you're an artist, or you might have some other wares? If you want,
we're looking for all of that. Again, if artists want to come out and they want to sell some wares or something like that, there's a small vendor fee, but it is not exorbitant at all. And if you're gonna put in $200 and you're gonna have 10,000 people that are buying from you, it is a great investment, I believe. And so, again, individuals that are artists, individuals that are selling wares, individuals that would just like to get involved, Natashee is the gatekeeper to all that is Westside.
Okay, that is awesome. And then local artists.
Local artists. So what happens with local artists, they submit a video clip, and I know this is all on the website as well as and I didn't tell everybody. They can also get this information on the website. It is westsidemusicfestival.org. But online there is a link that you can click on. You need to send your bio. You need to send I think a 2-minute video of your work. And we had, I think, over 60 applicants that applied last year from across the city of Chicago. And the board, which Natashee is the president of the board, and everyone on the board, they go through a checklist of, are you family friendly? Can you perform on this date? Do you have a following on social media? Because we like for the artists to promote the Westside Music Festival as well. So they go through their checklist of what the artist should have, and then, of course, the artist has to be good. And if they are, they're chosen by the panel. They're asked to perform. And again, we had 4 last year. My favorite from last year was a young lady by the name of Hadia Love. She was, I think, 9 years old. She's a rapper / pianist / violinist, and she came on. She came on last year and was amazing.
Did she have any training from Howard Sanders for her, or?
You know what? I have to ask, because we still stay in contact with Hadia. But I know she's from the West Side, and I know she's a rapper, singer, dancer, violinist, and pianist. And if we're thinking about, West Side individuals who are great in training, it has to be the Sandifords over at Garfield Park.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like someone that would come through him.
Indeed it does.
Okay, so, I was reading an article, and there was a guy, Jamie Bennett. He is the Director of Public Affairs for the National Endowment for the Arts, and he talked about how cities and communities can create synergy by planning arts venues in close proximity to create a sense of quote-unquote place, a place where people want to live and work and be proud of. And he also went on to say that successful creative placemaking builds the economy at the local level, and it enhances surrounding non-arts businesses and provides job opportunities and ways for individuals to participate in activities associated with the arts and cultural events. So this to me sounds like a formula that could very well work in North Lawndale.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm just wondering, what are some of the things that you're doing in the 24th Ward to spur this along?
So let's look at I'll go back to my plan in totality. So again, you said if you do a lot of different things in the arts and kind of a hub, it brings other economic engines, if you will, around. And so that's what I set out to do with the Westside Music Festival. That was the first thing, to make North Lawndale a destination for arts and culture. We're starting to do that. And I wanted to do it at Douglas Park because Douglas Park is a cultural center. Many people don't know that, but inside of Douglas Park they have an amazing dance instructor as well as an amazing art instructor that give children in this community a great home for culture and arts. So I wanted to do it at Douglas Park because of and also Ravinia's there, and they have a couple of other wonderful programs. They have a drama instructor that comes in, I think, 2-3 times a week. So I wanted Douglas Park to house the Westside Music Festival so we can start to build that hub. A lot of people were not always on board with Riot Fest and the benefits that Riot Fest brings. But if you start to have 1, 2, 3 really nice, large festivals in this hub, things start to connect. The last thing that I wanted to do, and hopefully it will get done, again, I talked about this last week, but we want to make sure that we have community involvement, is have a place for all of this to go on. And that is the impetus for the outdoor music venue that is proposed, that we still have to have community input on. But that's, I think, how you start to connect the dots on the arts and culture in this hub. And if you have people that are coming here every weekend to get some sort of culture and arts, Then you start to do coffee shops around that. Then you start to do little places where you can do pop-up music, and then you start to have an artist gallery. And then you start to do other things around it where people, because they're coming for this art, need to have coffee, need to have food, need to have some sort of drink, need to be able to rest and grab an umbrella when it's raining. And that is my goal, to hopefully Douglas Park becomes that hub. One thing I also want to mention, and I think Dennis Deere mentioned it last week, we're starting to do that already. With the Center Space, with Lagunitas, with Riot Fest, with the Westside Music Festival, Douglas Park was put in the Chicago Magazine as the next best place to live. So I want to continue to do that, make sure that we're doing it in a way that is beneficial to the residents and not pushing the residents out, making sure that they're involved so that they can take part in the great things that are coming to Douglas Park in North Lawndale.
Yeah, and then I just want to put in a plug for NOCCC. That's the North Lawndale Community Coordinating Council. And I want to say thank you, because under Sheila McNary's leadership, we're actually going to have our first annual North Lawndale Festival of the Arts.
Of the Arts,
and
that is correct.
Yeah, so that will be August 6th, and that will be a lead-in to what you guys are doing on the 20th, and then what, Riot Fest is coming in September sometime?
Yep, sometime in September. And that is why I wanted to direct Sheila to Douglas Park, because Douglas Park can be a hub for this arts and culture that we're always talking about. It is designated as a cultural center. Cultural center at the Park District is where they primarily focus on arts and community enrichment programs, as opposed to the traditional sports that most other park districts focus on. Their focus is the arts, and they've been doing a great job of this over the past few years, with Angela Salas being the supervisor and leading the charge in arts. I think she's been doing a wonderful job, and Douglas Park continues to put out great work with their young people.
And again, thank you to you and to Angela. I've been knowing Angela almost half my life. Well, a little bit more than half my life.
Yes, almost.
Yeah, more than half.
Indeed.
Yeah, I was neighbors to a cousin of hers, so we would see each other from time to time growing up 5 years ago.
Salas she's a great person, and she's community focused as well, and she's willing to help out wherever that she can. And I think one thing that I hopefully that I left in my tenure at the park is to make sure that the community has access to those desperately needed outlets, and Douglas Park has a lot of them. So.
So now we want to look at some of the accomplishments and the challenges. I mean, you really did hit upon some of the high points, but what have been some of the challenges of pulling this off on the West Side?
Well, when you're dealing with any kind of festival, funding is always an issue, and sometimes people don't always see the vision, and because this is a free concert, it has been for 5 years. I go out with the help of the board and the help of Natashee and raise all of the money to put on this concert. We do it ourselves. So
wow.
It's not a inexpensive thing. When you have nationally known artists, they run the gamut in terms of prices. We've had people come in as low as $2,500, and we have people that come in at $35,000 plus.
Wow.
So going out and raising that money so that you can have a quality concert in your neighborhood with A-list artists, and I'm talking about people who have Grammys and American Music Awards and have traveled all over the world. They come to our backyard and perform for our community at no charge. And in order to do that, you have to raise the money. And so getting people to see the vision, getting people to understand how important it is to have this free event and to have our neighbors be able to access this high level of talent for free has been difficult. And also it's always hard to, get volunteers. Volunteers aren't always, and there were years where we didn't have any volunteers because people didn't really see. Over the last couple years, though, because of the artists and because of how popular the concert series has become, that hasn't been the case. But in the beginning, getting people to see your vision, getting people to want to come out, getting people to understand, hey, you're not charging. And the last thing I think that's been a really big issue for us in the beginning is the perception that the West Side has always had. I have friends on the South Side, I have friends on the North Side, and I say, well, hey, we're going to have a concert in Douglas Park. And they say, Douglas Park? I'm not coming to Douglas Park. And that has always been difficult. I think one thing that has really helped is the recognition that Riot Fest has brought to Douglas Park. You have people from all over because of this huge event that comes, and it went on and there was no issue. It relieves people's angst or anxiety about coming to our neighborhood. And that's what we want. We want people to understand that we got great things going on over here. We got great things coming. We got great people. We got great arts and culture that we want to show the city of Chicago, and hopefully that won't be the case any longer.
And what I like about this is really the potential to really drive community and economic development.
That is correct.
That area on Ogden near Sacramento, California, California is the last stop for the Ogden bus when it comes from the east going to the west side. So North Lawndale is pretty much starved from public transportation going down Ogden. I would think that as we develop those venues and have, partnership with companies like Ligoniers and CineSpace, and, in addition to the different artists that come, that we can actually use this as an opportunity to advocate for better transportation for the whole community.
That is correct. So that has always been part of my end game with the Westside Music Festival. Even before I thought that I was going to run for office, I thought to myself, hey, if we can put on a quality concert that has upwards of 25,000, 30,000 people coming to frequent this event every year, and we can start building things around it, if you build it, they will come. That goes for transportation, that goes for economic development, that goes for arts and culture, that goes for everything. It's all driven by the number of people that you have and the quality of the event. And so we have the quality in the event. We want to make sure that we get more people, and we start to put the infrastructure in place around it to make sure that we're not doing this for naught.
So what are some of the lessons that you've learned along the way? And I'm sure you learned a lot of hard ones.
No, it has been again, it's been very tough, especially when the margins are so razor thin in terms of what it is that we raise and what it is that we can spend. So it hasn't been an opportunity to bring folks in. And so the day of, for the last 4 years, myself, my wife, friends, family, have chipped in to make sure that all the logistics are done right. I was not a promoter beforehand, so securing artists and people taking advantage of your being naive to the system, and you booking people and they're charging you a little extra here and you're taking a little money off the top. If I had known what I know now when I first secured the grant from the Chicago Community Trust, I'd have some money in the bank and I wouldn't have to work so hard to do fundraising. So every year something presents itself. It's getting easier each year. The challenges in the beginning to put this on. Sometimes I was pulling out my hair saying, I'm not going to do this anymore. But when I see and I can look out on the stage and see a sea of 1,000 people who are out enjoying themselves. It feels like Ravinia. It looks like Ravinia. Or when you go out to the Taste of Chicago to see Erykah Badu, it looks and it feels the same. It just makes me feel like all the work and the effort that we've put in over the years has been well worth of what we've been doing.
Yes, indeed. So I just want to remind our callers that we're speaking with Alderman Michael Scott. He's also the founder of the Westside Music Festival. If you have any questions or comments, or if you're in the chat room listening, the call-in number is 347-884-8121. Again, that number is 347-884-8121. And if you're in the chat room, feel free to type in questions, and we can share those while we're on the air. Okay, so at this point, it doesn't seem as if we have any callers. So we've come to the end of our show, and I'd like to thank Alderman Scott for being our guest today. Alderman, would you care to share any parting thoughts and tell us how we can reach you?
Of course. So once again, Val, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit about my pet project. I'd also be remiss to not thank my wife for all the hard work that she does. It was my idea, but she puts the nuts on the bolts, and she really makes things happen. Not only is she the president of the board, but she's the executive director. She holds down a full-time job, and she's a mommy. So she's a Wonder Woman. So
and she's beautiful and doesn't look stressed.
She well, I think
ask her her secret.
Yeah, I will. I will ask her secret. I wish she was here to tell you. Her secret is probably beating up on me to make sure she gets out all of that aggression. But hey, that's all right. But she does a wonderful job at what she does, and she is such a gracious and of course beautiful woman. So I'd like to thank her. And I want to remind people that it is August the 20th. It is our 5th year. Go and vote on our Facebook page, Westside Music Festival on Facebook. Let your voice be heard about what you want to see come to your community, and let's just have a great time. It's been a great time over the last 4 years. This is going to be the 5th year. We hope that it's going to be bigger and better than it always has, and can't wait to see all the faces out there. It's a great time, Val. It's a great time.
Okay, awesome. And one more time, where can we reach you if we have questions?
You can reach me if you're looking for the alderman. You can reach me at aldermanscott.com. You can also shoot us an email at alderman24@aldermanscott.com. You can reach us on Facebook at aldermanscott.com. You can reach us on Twitter at alderman24 and Instagram at Alderman Scott. So if you're looking for Westside Music Festival, you can go to her website, and that's westsidemusicfestival.org. Facebook, Westside Music Festival. Twitter at Westside Music Festival. And on Instagram at Westside Music Festival. And, again, we look forward to seeing everybody on August 20th. Go vote. Let your voices be heard of who you want to see. And hopefully we'll see you out there.
Now, can we vote to Chicago way early in Austin, or we can only vote one time?
I'm not sure how she set up the poll, but attempt to go back and vote again. I mean, we want your voices to be heard. If the people are going to be out there, we want them to be entertained with who they want to be entertained with.
Okay, there's a future for you in politics with a response like that.
I think so, just a little bit. I think a little bit of politics is on the horizon for me.
Yes. All righty. So I want to thank our listeners for listening to Nonprofit U Blog Radio Talk Show today. This show will be available for download within about an hour. And be sure to tune in next week when Kate Provera, she's going to be here, and she's going to talk about her efforts to raise funds. She is building a fence for a school in Uganda so that the children who are there can feel safe attending, so we don't have another Boko Haram situation out there. So I think that's going to be a really interesting show, I think. All righty. So thank you so much, and you take care, Alderman.
Thanks, Val. Have a good day.
Mm-hmm. All right, you too. All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow, nice haul.
Told ya, Macy's Backstage has perfect last-minute gifts.
With prices so low, you never need a coupon.
I scored the perfect makeup palette.
Super cute. I grabbed these cool drones for the guys.
Nice. Here's a handbag for Aunt Helen.
Found awesome toys for the kids.
Cookware for the budding chef.
Oh, and look what I got for Uncle Hank.
A puppy chew toy?
No, that's for Rex. They even have gifts for pets.
Well, you know Uncle Hank. He'd love anything we gave him.
Macy's Backstage. Savings for everyday life. Details at macy'sbackstage.com.